Hi guys, I'm out at Fern Developments and welcome back to the care home. On previous episodes you would have seen us finishing off the plasterboarding, starting to bring the skim through the new extension and preparing for the second fix carpentry. On this episode we're going to be moving into the interior of the new wing, fitting the steels, getting the floors down, starting the skirting, landscaping and much more. Come and have a look. So the first task for today is to get all of the preparation done, ready for our beautiful resin pathway to be installed a bit later on.
So, prep for the resin pathway means we have to get some type 1 or MOT, which is a crushed stone, which gets compacted down to form a sub base for the guys then to lay the resin top coat on afterwards.
With the groundworks complete, it's now over to Jordan and his team who are on their final sand ready for their last coats of paint.
So there's a saying that the preparation for painting is what maketh the finish. I'm not sure if it is a saying, but that's what they're doing. They've started in the hallways, they're working through the bedrooms. Now it's always a bit of a game juggling the trades and who gets what space. The poor painters, they have to work around everybody. They'd love the whole place to be empty, but we're not there. So now that the hallway's done, they can move to different areas and work sectionally in order to get the outcome we need.
With the interior decorations well underway, it's time for the plasterers to come outside, get the render on and get their terraline on the new extension.
We've been really lucky with the weather. I think it's actually the hottest June on record. The guys are outside, scratch coat, top coat, and as Al said, get a terraline. Now what a terraline finish is it gives it like that stony look. And they use a little stone thrower, they pour the mix in, and then they spray it on using the hand wound machine. Now that we've got one elevation done, they can move slowly down the long edge of the building. And this needs to go on in just enough time so that we can let it dry, ready for Jordan and the guys to come in and paint it. More on that later.
So with the new wing nearing its completion, it's now time to bring in the mains power supply. So the electricians are going to crack on with that shortly and show you how it's done.
Lewis on screen now has all of the different cables coming from all of the different parts of the new extension. It's his job now to try and decipher all of those wires and get them into the right place so that all of the different circuits are fused and RCDs the way they're meant to. There's also going to be a whole bunch of different drilling. Al's gone into it in a previous episode, which if you want to see more detail, click on the link.
I've got to figure out how to get this cable.
This is how we're going to get the feed from the main house into the new extension, because it's a really big cable.
This is where...
We've cut the core holes and put this dirty crate drill bit through their cob and granite wall, and then cut the core hole from outside so we didn't fill the bathroom with too much dirt. And now we've got to get the cable along and through the holes.
With the holes now drilled, Lewis and Damo can put the clips in to hold the wire up, and then it's a case of feeding the wire through the existing work that we've already done, and then she's good to go. Over on the other side of the building, we're digging a small trench so that we can put a water feed over to that building you can see in the corner, which is actually a cafe. Hannah, Jess and Sarah, they're all over there feeding the boys up with all those lovely pasties. So we want to get them some water so that it's much easier for them to do their job. The theme of this is preparation. What you can see back inside is a self-leveling compound going on the floor. That's going to help later on in the video where you'll see why we had to do this. It's to get the two floor types to match in together lovely.
Hi guys, right, so we've been a bit busy in this bedroom, which I'm going to call bedroom number 1. So now I can start to get it decorated as we come into the care home to try and decorate the residence part. So we're going to put an ensuite going up over in the corner there. So we need to put a new soil pipe in, and the only way to get that in is to basically dig up the floor and put a soil pipe in and then bring it outside and connect it into the manholes. which are around there. So Pete's been really busy, he's got all of that in and he's got all the stud work up, so now we're ready for first fix plumbing, first fix electrics. We've got to have this room completed by a week Wednesday. We've also got to have the other block completed by a week Wednesday. So we've basically got the Sparkies are doing their final fix in there at the moment. The plumber's got to get in there and do his second fix. So it's basically the next week and a half are going to be absolutely manic. So I hope you enjoy it. Come with us and watch us and see if we get it done. See you in a bit.
So the soil pipe's in. That was a nightmare. Pete did really, really well. The stud walls are up. You can see the guys putting some plasterboard on. This process is pretty repetitive. We've got to be careful of radon in this area, and you would have seen it in the previous episodes. That green barrier there is to help us with that. Soil pipe's in, fill it full of hardcore, concrete on the top, keep plasterboarding. As well as that, we're on a tight time frame. So the Sparkies have come in, they're drilling holes to pull cables. It's all go around here, but the boys are working well together and we're hoping we're gonna hit that deadline that we need. It's getting towards the end of the day. Cables are in, concrete's in, let's let that dry. End of the day, time to go home. Morning. Not quite the same day as what it was yesterday. It's pouring down and we've got a few problems. Here's Al to walk you through it.
Hey guys, right, so it's absolutely hammering it down here on site at the moment, and we're trying to get this room ready for the plasterers. We thought it was ready, the plasterers come in this morning and they were like, we've literally got to strip every single wall because it's got wallpaper all over it. So all hands on deck, the boys are in here. Welcome to the pits of hell. Everybody looks really happy at the moment. But we basically had to strip all the wallpaper off every wall, which was a bit of an oversight on my behalf because it looked like it was all pretty decent when I checked it yesterday. So obviously that isn't the case. We've got to get it done because we're opening up this room in a few days time. So we've got to get it on, get it dry, and I've got the carpenter here tomorrow to do doors and architraves. So yeah, it's pretty chaotic, but everybody's working together. We need to get it done, so everyone's working as a team, and we're just going to crack on. Give you an update in a bit.
So with all of the carnage going on over in bedroom 1, as Al calls it, let's nip back and just see what's been happening in the main extension.
Buenos dias, por favor. So, mad couple weeks. The decorators have been in, it's decorated, they are out. And we've got the carpet fitters / floor fitters in at the moment. We have finally got some carpets and some vinyl, padded vinyl, which is going in the en-suites. Carpets here. Got the cooking apple green walls up. Sparkies have been in with the second fix. Really jumping ahead. Floor layer's been in. Self-leveled throughout, wherever there's going to be the LVT glue down. Carpets. Room full of stuff. Bit carpeted. More vinyl here. So, yeah, starting to come along nicely. Still a few bits where they've had to feather in. Where the floor's a bit too unlevel. We've got the laundry room here, that's leveled, ready for vinyl, I believe. And then tomorrow, which is the weekend, we've got one of the floor layers coming in to get this, which is this here, this wet room vinyl down. So then we move on to the main house to do a knock through. We're doing an ensuite in room 1 in the original building. Yeah, coming together nice.
Here's a quick clip of the vinyl finishing process. We didn't manage to catch the floor being laid down, but here is the welding of the seams which go in this particular wet room, and that creates a continuous waterproof membrane on the floor. Don't those tiles look good? From one floor to another, this stuff looks so cool when it's going down. The guys have come in, they're laying an LVT glue down, LVT luxury vinyl tile, glue down obvious, and these are laid in a herringbone pattern. It does take much longer because you've got all those tiny little cuts against the skirting board, but gosh, it really does make this look awesome. There's two things to note here. With the main corridor done, They now have moved out into the lobby. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen, there's that dark grey bit. That's the prep that we did earlier. And now this is where it's coming into its fruition because it makes laying this bit way easier. Gosh, that floor looks good. With the flooring almost finished on the inside, it's time to jump to the outside of the building where we've got the guys from Teen Deck have started putting their coats on the render, which is now, because of this lovely weather, had enough time to dry. You can also see underneath all that plastic sheeting, the top coat of the resin has been laid, and man, that looks absolutely stunning.
Hey guys, right, so it's quite busy here on site at the moment. We've got the boys from Teen Deck here who are decorating the external. Our guys are starting to knock through, which is basically going to be knocking through into what is currently being used as their breakfast room. That's going to become the garden room. So the boys are just cracking on with that now. We've got some big steels to go in, which you've seen in previous episodes. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Hello. We've got the bedroom one cracking on with, where we managed to get it plastered last week. The boys are in there at the moment doing the carpentry, getting the doors on. We've got decorators in there prepping the skirting, because we're going to be opening that room up in just a few hours. So basically we've got some carpenters in there at the moment. We've got Roger and his mate getting the doors on. Teen Deck in here, as you can see, it's a bit dark. We're getting latches on the doors. The plumber's going to be coming in here in a minute to get this second fixed. So yeah, all systems are going here. We've got the electricians are on site in the new wing. They're getting all of the radiators and stuff on, because that's all going to be opening up in just a few days now. All of the flooring is down. Here's the boys just making a start on. They're going to get this ceiling boarded first, because we want to get that boarded before we knock through, just try and limit the amount of time that room is out of order as much as possible. So it's basically a case of get the ceiling boarded, get that wall down, get this boarded, screed on the floor, plastered, decorated, all within a few days. So yeah, it's there's about 20 of us on site at the moment. So we're going to start having the girls coming in to do the decorations, getting pictures and everything up on the walls. So yeah, it's absolutely carnage, but the sun is out, we're loving it, let's get it done.
Boys are onto boarding, but we need to start thinking about the prep for the steel. There may have been a few different opinions on site about which way that should be done, and sometimes those opinions get very strongly voiced. Josh, being the legend that he is, decided that was the appropriate time to start filming some stuff.
Anyway, boys, right, can you get a bit to camera quick?
That escalated quickly, didn't it?
Can you just get a quick bit to the camera?
Escalated into...
What's that?
Yeah.
Don't get angry.
So then Josh is going on a jolly for 2 hours.
I need to get the skirting board, so I may as well get a dehumidifier. So we're just in here doing the knock through. Hard work, 600mm wall. We've got all the boys here. What else do you guys got before? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I can.
In a minute, maybe
no stuff in there.
Let's go home then.
I'm fine, I just want to go to my flight.
Right, so the big challenge here is the thickness of the wall. Now in a normal construction, the walls are about 300mm thick and you've got a cavity in between. Pretty simple. This one, not so much. It was built a really long time ago and the walls are about 600mm thick. Interesting fact, it's older than New Zealand as a country. Anyway, moving on. So there's multiple steels that have to go in order to make sure we meet the structural engineer's requirements and it actually holds the building up. So we're stitch drilling through a vertical cut that's been made in order to make sure that we can cut from the other side on the same line. Now, anytime you're doing something like this, it's always fine when you've got loads of time, but we're really pushed for time because this is going to be the new dining room of the care home and people just want to be in here. So we need to get a wriggle on, get these steels in so we can get everything to start drying. Once the cuts are made on both sides, it's a case of then we can install some stones, which the steels are going to sit on. Instead of having one stone under each steel, we've got to put multiple stones in on each side. So It is a bit of a head scratcher. There's lots of coffee being drunk, and look, if I'm honest, sometimes emotions can get a little bit high. The boys are passionate about what they do, and we really like that. Once the pad stones are in and they've had time to set, we can then think about how we move these big bits of metal into position so that we can get them ready for install. Challenge we've got is how they used to build in the old days is very different to how we do it now. Now, resources weren't so readily available, so what they used to do is build massive big rock structures. Marv's an absolute machine, and he's as strong as an ox. Even he was struggling to carry some of these stones out because that's all they had back in the day. So the process for us is very delicately add some more support, and then we've got to try and remove these stones very carefully to make sure that we don't disrupt more of the wall. Now that some of the rocks and stone and horsehair and everything else that was put into this wall has been removed, it's exposed an old timber beam. We need to get this out of the way, but it is still doing a little bit of work. So we'll throw some more props in. We'll throw some more what's called a strong buoy, which is like a metal brace that sits on the top of the acro prop. That then gives us an opportunity to get this big bit of timber, which has been there for a very long time, out of the way. Once that's out of the way, we can then work forward to the next step on how we're getting these steels in. This now gives us an opportunity to make sure our props are secure, get the stones ready, make sure they're all there, make sure everything's the way it's meant to be, and then we can lift up one of these steels after a good old cleanup and get it in the building. So normally you'd only have 2. We've got 3 with big heavy plates welded onto the top of them. So these things weigh an absolute ton. Lucky we've got a Marv. Look, they're really, really heavy. I don't think, the videos don't do it justice how heavy these things are. And of course it's really awkward because you've got these acro props in the way and they're holding the building up. So you can't lean on them or adjust them or move them. So look, sometimes you've just got to do it with brute force. So look, have a break, gather your thoughts, and then all work together as a team to get it up. Now, the first one was okay, the second one was okay, but the third one, the boys had to call in reinforcements, which you're about to see. So with all of the help from all of the boys, thanks a lot lads, we had sparkies and painters and everyone listing that last one in. We've still got loads of work to do on top of the steel. We now have to spend time making sure that all of the support goes back in above that steel. Absolute vital part that we get as much of that supported as we can. Now that's a mixture of rocks, bricks, mortar, blocks, whatever we can get in to get up and under that supported, it went back in. Time to let all of that dry. Boys have done all the heavy lifting. Now it's time to get back to some plasterboarding so that we can keep working towards having this thing finished. Remembering, of course, we are on a deadline on this build. The residents want their room back, and currently we're taking it.
Good morning guys, how's it going? Right, so we got a bit of a busy day today. We've got the crew showing up in about half an hour's time. The boys have got to finish plasterboarding the ceiling. We got Pete here who's taking out his anger on that stone. Basically just getting it all ready. We've got the plasterers in on Friday, so we've got a few hours to get this prepped and plasterboarded ready for skimming. Let's get it done. Right, so a bit of an update. The boys are absolutely flying along. They're working really, really hard. They've got this massive opening. Look at that. It's really opening out to be an absolutely amazing garden room, and I cannot wait to see this one finished. So basically that stud wall is going to come out now. We're going to start preparing all of these walls, taking all of this wallpaper off, and putting some SBR on there, which is basically a primer stabilizer, which is going to allow them to skim on the top of that. We're also going to SBR these external walls here so that we can dot and dab over these and flatten these walls out, because it's really, I don't know if you can see the contortion in that wall, so we kind of need to get that nice and flat. So we're going to SBR it and get some dot and dab on there, which is basically gluing the plasterboard on. The guys are coming in a minute to do the screeds, so we've got a mad rush now. We've got to get our radon barrier down. We've got to get 100mm Celotex down, and we've got to get a final layer of DPM, and the guys are going to be here in like half an hour. So I'm going to stop holding these boys up and let them get cracking. Catch you in a bit.
So as Al said, it's time to finish this room off. The red stuff you can see is a radon barrier. That stops the gas from coming up. Then we get some DPM down. Then it's the insulation, ready for the guys to come in and pour our gypsum-based liquid screed. That's going to get our floor to where we need it to be. So this space is slowly becoming one space.
Hey guys, right, so it's getting near the end of the day. The boys have absolutely smashed it. The screed is down, all the rubbish is gone, most of the wallpaper's off the wall. They've done an absolute cracking job. Well done, guys. Ready to get some plasterboard on in the morning. Catch you in a bit.
And with that, there is another day done. The sun sets on today and we look forward to tomorrow.
Morning, how's it going? Right, so basically we got the screed down yesterday, which went in really well, apart from we had a little disaster. A roll of tape popped up from somewhere. So yeah, we got a busy day today. As per usual, we've got to get all of the board on, ready for... You don't need to PVA that, mate.
So it's starting to take shape. One of the things we had to get done is a little stud wall built over that stone. Now the reason why we built the wall across it is because it's just too uneven and we needed to flatten it out to give the plasterboard something to bite to. So we can do the pillar on the right hand side, then we can get up and over top of where the new steels are. In the meantime, all of the boys are boarding around the sides of the room and then the camera falls over. Whilst that's going on inside, here's a bit of prep work that we're getting done for next week, where we've got Sammy outside and he's starting onto the fire doors. So these are going in the new extension while the boys continue on in the old house like you've been watching. So now Sammy's made the adjustments outside, he can come back and put these doors back into the hole that they need to go in, and we are one step closer.
So while we've been cracking on the sunflower room, the boys have also been really busy in the new wing. They've been getting the floors down, they've been getting the fire doors on, we've had the decorators in, and we've also had a couple of lovely girls come in, design some artwork to go up in the care home, which really just brightens up this place. We've got lovely herringbone floor gone down, and it's really starting to come out together. It's really light and airy. I love this project.
With the beauty of YouTube, click your fingers and the plaster's on. Thanks a lot, boys. Appreciate the effort on that. You can see here on the time lapse how quickly this plaster is drying. It's boiling hot out here. Love the sun, but man, it makes it hard work, especially if you're a plasterer. Thanks a lot, boys. Appreciate the effort.
Right, so here we are in the sunflower room. We've been in here cutting these massive great steels in and getting this big opening out, which the boys have done an absolutely fantastic job on. And it looks absolutely incredible. If you imagine that this was their dining room before, where I'm stood, which kind of ends where you are now, it's really small and pokey. So when they come in here for the first time and they just see it all open like that, they're going to be quite impressed, I think. And we've cut another doorway in here, which goes through, so there's like a kind of walkway through here and into the lounge. So the residents can come in here, have their evening meal, enjoy the sunshine and the view, and then they can go straight through here into their lounge, which you've seen us refurbish in previous episodes. We've got to wait for the plaster to dry before I can get the decorators in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the carpet back to this area here, give it a good clean, and we're going to open it up for 4 days, let the plaster dry, and then I can get the decorators in here, get this room painted, then I can get the floor down. Pete Hearns came in, did all of the turf, rotivated it all, so yeah, it's looking really nice. We're really happy with it. So it'd be nice to get the decoration complete, get this room open and hand it over to the residents. Wow, what an episode. As you can see, this home is really starting to come together now, and doesn't it look beautiful? Join us next time where you'll see some traditional oak carpentry, more slating and much more. Don't forget to like and subscribe and we'll see you next time.